Okay, I've just been informed that he's represented by Usen Efyong. Usen Efyong is the Executive Director, Corporate Services and Commercial of the Bank of Industry. Thank you, sir, for coming. Joining the panelists also is Olubenga Agbola. He's co-founder and CEO, Flutterwave. Olubenga Agbola.
Please let's put our hands together for him. We might know him as GB, so please put our hands together for GB. This is one of the brilliant minds responsible for the few unicorns we have in this part of the world. Thank you.
And then we have from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, joining the panelists as well, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, ACE2, Dane White. He's the head cybercrime section of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission headquarters. ACE Dane White.
Let's put our hands together for him. He's making a comeback. We saw him earlier on when we launched the 247 response service. Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much.
Part of the panelists as well is SA to the President on Art, Culture, and Creative Economy, Mr. Ayomide Adiagbo.
Let's put our hands together for Mr. Adiagbo as he steps forward to the panel.
Joining the panelists is also Vice Chairman Ad Hoc Committee to elaborate a new cybercrime convention, Mr. Telumun George Maria Tiezindwa. Mr. Telumun George Maria Tiedenzwa. Okay? Okay, please a round of applause. He's making his way up here. And before we go to the last on the list here, we have Ade Damola Adewale, Ade herself. Wow. Ade herself representing, yes, we've got a lot of youths here, but Ade herself is coming. Please a round of applause for this life changer. She is a blogger. She is someone who's been on the internet for so long, and she's contributed to delivering the messages of the EFCC to the younger generation. Ade herself, big corner clap for her. Ade herself is coming right up. And then the last one we have here, but not the least, is Malam Baba Yusuf, founder and CEO, Global Investment and Trade Company. Malam Baba Yusuf.
Please let's put our hands together for him. But to set the ball rolling, particularly as regards this conversation, we'd like to have a paper presentation by Mr. Kashifu Inuwa Abdullahi, CCIE, Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITA. Please let's put our hands together for him as he presents the paper.
Thank you. Yeah. It's not displaying. Thank you. Thank you for having me. The Executive Governor of Kwara State and the Chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, Your Excellency Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, our host, the Executive Chairman of EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukoede, ESQ. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited to be here with you today at this pivotal national summit on cybercrime, organized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. First and foremost, I want to thank the EFCC chairman and the management for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to speak to you on a subject that is not just critical to Nigeria, but for the entire global digital economy. As we gather here today, we confront an urgent reality. Nigeria, a nation with rich culture, talent, and limitless potential, is unfortunately grappling with the global menace of cybercrime, which has cast shadow over our national reputation. It always hurts when I travel, people ask me about the Nigerian prince. That means they refer or they see us as the center of cybercrime globally. But that is not true. That is not the case. And today we are going to look at alternative to cybercrime. But before we look at the alternative, it is important for us to understand what is cybercrime. A cybercrime is a regular crime that involves computer and internet. So as the computer has increasingly been part of our life, therefore cybercrime also is permeating around everything we do. And today, when we talk about computer, it's not about just desktop and laptops, but even our mobile phones are computers. Today, our cars are becoming computers. Our TV, everything is becoming computer. So that means cybercrime permeates around everything around us. There is a recent report by the Interpol saying that in Nigeria, 50% of crimes have dimension of cybercrime. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that more than or 50% of crimes in Nigeria have dimension of cybercrime? But I think for me, it should be more than 50%. Because if you look at today, all crimes is either you call someone, you make appointment with him, you hack someone's WhatsApp, you hack someone's system, you hack someone's banks, and so on. So it could be more than 50% because everything we do today depends on these computers. So it can be more than that 50%. Recently, there is a global cybercrime index released by Paul One, a research conducted by Oxford University and one Canadian university. That's the first cybercrime index that looked at the geography of cyber crimes and nations where produce significant cyber crimes and the cyber criminals themselves. It is always very difficult to identify the cyber criminals because it's an organized crime. We have what we call the black hat hackers. So that's what we normally see. When we talk about cybercrime on TV, they will show someone sitting with hoodies. But that's not the major perpetrators because most of crimes are organized. And also, Bruce Schneider says that amateurs hack systems, but professional hack people. So it is beyond those hacking systems. It's an organized crime where they look at how they can hack and hide their identity. So based on that research, they rank Nigeria as the 5th highest country with significant cyber crime after the US, China, Ukraine, and Russia. And also, they came up with categorization of cybercrime because cybercrime is very diverse. Based on the research, there were at least 5 minimum categorization of cyber crimes. The first one is the technical products and services, which you see like using a botnet attack, developing tools, technical tools you can use for attacking people. So this also is very sophisticated. And also this cybercrime, it depends on the nation. It's not one solution fit on, or it is not evenly distributed across the world. Among those nations with significant crimes, they also have specializations. Mostly these technical product and services attacks are attacks that normally they use technical, they create codes, they hack people's system, as well as they use today AI and other things. Because AI also is a tool that can exacerbate the cyber criminality. Because as we have autonomous systems today, you can also have autonomous cyber crimes. And also like with Gen AI, the criminals can use it to orchestrate a sophisticated attack using AI to translate their attacks into multiple languages. Then the second one is attacks and extortion, where they use like denial of service attack, they use ransomware and so on to attack a system and extort something from people. Then we also have the data and identity theft, which is also common in Nigeria, where people can steal identity, WhatsApp, SIM swap, name identity, and so on to commit a crime. But the most common in Nigeria and the highest in Nigeria is scamming. That's the business email compromise, like the romance scam, and something like lottery and prize scam. That's what Nigerians are very good in. That's why always they refer or ask about the Nigerian prince. And based on that research, Nigeria was ranked the highest in the world in that area. So this will help us to identify what kind of crimes are common in Nigeria before we start thinking of what kind of alternatives should we have to it. Then the last one is about cashing out or money laundering, where also this one is also common in Nigeria, where people use like crypto exchange for moving money or money mulas to move money around, as well as credit card fraud. This is also common. And also based on other reports like the checkpoint report, they say that Africa has the highest per week per organization attack in the world. According to the recent report published 3 days ago, in Africa, every organization on average is attacked more than 3,300 per week. And there are two types of organizations: those who know that they were attacked and those who don't know. If you are not attacked today, you will be attacked tomorrow. And this is very rampant in Africa and globally. Then looking at this, they said that in Africa, the highest sector or the most attacked sector is the financial sector. So this also will give us an indication on what are the motivation for these cyber criminals and how can we bring an alternative to that. Globally, cybercrime cost the world $9.5 trillion this year, and it will reach $10.5 trillion by next year, according to Cybersecurity Ventures. And also in Nigeria, we have over 30% of these attacks. they target industrial control systems like bank system, because the financial sector is the most attacked in Nigeria. That's the motivation, mostly is around financial incentives. The chairman mentioned that in Nigeria annually, cybercrime costs Nigeria around 500 million annually, and also in Nigeria we have a high unemployment rate, which the chairman also mentioned about it. So we need to look at all this as what motivates the criminals to venture into cybercrime. The first one is the financial incentives. We've seen a lot of people, they do it because they want to meet their daily needs. The chairman gave an example of someone. I also had a similar experience. Even as this afternoon, the guy sent me a message that he needs 30,000 naira to pay his school fees. And the guy is a hacker. The first thing when he contacted me, he shared my NIN number, that he hacked my NIN, he got my NIN slip. And also, he told me he can hack account banks credit to get people information to steal money from their banks. So I invited him to my office, and he told me he's a student and he's doing all this because he really wants to study. He requested for laptops, and always he come to me. Well, I asked him to always come back to me if he needs anything. So this afternoon, he sent me a message that he needs only 30,000 naira. So you can see this kind of people, they do it just because they want to earn a living. But according to other researches, that is not the case, because according to the current state of the science research, they profile the cyber criminals globally. They said 90% of cyber criminals are male. 80% of them are under 30. Most of them, they started very early, between 10 to 15. And most of them are educated, and they are socio-economically fine. So you can see some of them, they go beyond seeing it as a means of getting or earning for a living, but they do it as a result of lack of awareness. Some, they don't know what they do is really a criminality, because they think something doing it online is not the same thing as doing it in a physical world. So we need to do more of awareness to let them know whatever is illegal offline is also illegal online. While some, they do it just for social influence. We've seen in Nigeria the Raymond Abasi, the Obinoane Okeke's cases, where they use that to display the wealth of what they have or what they've gained through all this criminality. And we also have some that do it just based on curiosity and technical challenge. As a fan, they have the skills. They want to hack something. They want to display their skills. And some, they do it as ideological motivation. We've seen during the NSAS, where they've been attacking government sites, and also during the recent bad governance, also there were threats that they will hack government websites. So now that we've understand the motivation around what motivates them to go into this criminality, we also need to look at what measures do we need to put in place, or what do we already have in place. Like Efcc is one of the measures government put in place to combat the cyber criminality in Nigeria. The chairman mentioned the achievement. I think what we used here was between May 2023 to May 2024. But based on the chairman's speech and also the video played earlier, the recovery was more than 240-something billion naira, in addition to other foreign currencies. Even the convictions also has gone up. So these are part of the deterrence we have in place. In addition to EFCC, we have other things like the Cybercrime Act. We have the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy. We have the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, which is an act now, and we have a commission in place to help enlighten our people about how to protect their data. And we also have the Code of Practice for Internet Computer Service Platforms and Internet intermediaries. We have sectorial SATs, like at NIDA, we have the Computer Emergency Readiness and Response Team. I know we have at NCC, CBN also supposed to get one for the financial sector. And we also have the National Cybersecurity Coordination Center, which operates the NGSAT, that's supposed to coordinate all cybersecurity activities in the country. So these are part of the measures the government has put in place. But one thing we need to also have in mind is, according to World Economic Forum, more than 95% of cyber crimes or cyber breaches are as a result of human errors. Therefore, our first line of defense should be the human, not the technology. And also, like I said earlier, Bruce Schneier said, amateurs hack systems while professionals hack people. Therefore, as a government also, our first line of defense should be the people. How can we achieve that? We need to achieve that through awareness, because most of these criminals, they use social engineering tactics to get information from you to hack you. It's like no matter how secured your house is, if you hand over the key to someone, it is no more secured. So it is the same thing. No matter how secured your organization is, if one person in the organization discloses something to any criminal somewhere, that's the end, because they can get in and do whatever they want to do. So we have so many activities we do as a government to increase that. The first one, we have the National Digital Literacy Framework with an ambitious target of achieving 95% digital literacy by 2030. Digital literacy will help us to know or to have the fluency to navigate our digital landscape. We've started implementing these initiatives through working with the Minister of Education to develop digital literacy and skills curriculum, which they are going to embed it into our formal education by next year. The second one, we are partnering with NYSC to train the informal sector, our market women, our artisans, our motor park workers, which mostly they are the one that suffer the most. Because these criminals, they will call them, tell them it's from your bank, they need your card details, and so on. Like most of these incidents, they are not even being reported at all. So we work with NYSC across 774 local government. We just started last month with 12 states as a pilot. They are going around educating our people on the do and the don't online. So we believe that will help them to have more knowledge about the cyberspace and increase our national cyber resiliency. The third one is working with the formal sector to upskill our workers and prepare them for the 21st century work. Then we also have a program on developing our talents, because beyond being digitally literate, we also need to have the proficiency to build our digital offerings as well as to defend it. And also that is an area we have a huge gap as a nation, because today in Nigeria we have only about 25,000 cybersecurity professionals. Looking at those top 5 countries in the Cybercrime Index, US has more than 1.3 million professionals. In Russia, they have more than 200,000. Ukraine has more than 10,000. China has more than 5,000. But if you look at the population density, Nigeria has the worst. Because in the US, for every 470-something citizens, they have one cybersecurity professional to protect them. In China, they have about, for every 2,000, they have one professional. In Ukraine is just 40 million. So they have one professional for every 4,000. But in Nigeria, we have 1 to almost 10,000, because we have only 25,000 professionals. So it's an area we need to up the game. That's why we also designed the 3 million tech talent. Before designing the program, we've conducted a survey on IT skills on high demands locally and globally. Based on that, we've identified 5 skills, and cybersecurity is one of them. Then we also need to find a way to inspire our youths. It is not just about glorifying the criminals. We also have Nigerian youth doing well within the digital space. Like we have the Inolua Aboeji, the co-founder of Flutterwave, the CEO of Flutterwave is here with us. He co-founded Flutterwave, Andela, and many more. So we should use them as an inspiration for our youth to know that it is not only when you have the you can only make money with your technical skills through doing bad things. You can really make money through doing good things. Those skills, we can turn them and use them for good. Because today, averagely, a cybersecurity professional earns between 90,000 US dollars to 200,000 US dollars per annum, based on experience. As an entry level, you can earn 90,000 if you work remotely. Even working in Nigeria for places like Flutterwave and so on, you can earn nothing less than 200,000 naira per month. So we need to encourage our citizens, and also we need to come up with policies that will create jobs for them. Because even the corporate organization, they also need to know the cost of not getting the cyber professionals working for you. Because there is a cost in anticipation, there is a cost for consequence of the cyber breaches, and there are costs for investigation or recovery. So you need to look at all this, and also look at what you lose on monthly basis. Compare it to employing this professional to work with you. So to achieve that, we are working with the Office of the National Security Advisor to come up with the National Cybersecurity Architecture. that will not only get the corporate organizations to secure their environment, but also create jobs for professionals as well. Because today, nobody has a minimum standard of what kind of cybersecurity architecture you should have as a bank. I know the CBN has IT standard, but the enforcement also is not there to ensure the banks do it. But if we say today we should have our NG SAT, every sector should have sectorial SAT with minimum investment in terms of infrastructure and people, and also organizations also should have minimum cybersecurity investment and in terms of infrastructure and people. This will create the jobs, will improve our national security, our economic stability, and societal trust. Today, the cybersecurity is eroding our trust in our digital platforms. So doing that will help. We are looking at that, and which we believe with support of all of you. And I believe this summit should be a platform we can leverage to achieve that, because it's not just beyond apprehending the criminals. You need to get an alternative for them, because the cost or the benefit of the crime always outweigh the consequences. That's why they still do it. Sometimes it's difficult to identify them, to apprehend them, and also sometimes the judicial system takes time. So when they look at all that, what is the benefit, what is the risk of doing it? So we need to balance that. So getting the alternative is what will help us to balance that. And also we need to start thinking of beyond just employing the professional. Also, we need to have like the red team, the blue team in an organization. You need to simulate someone attacking you, someone trying to identify vulnerabilities in your system. So all this will help in creating the jobs and also in developing our skills as a nation. Then we have others like Amal Hassan also, the co-founder of Outsource Global, doing fantastic work in terms of connecting our skills youth with jobs opportunities globally. She has youth living in Nigeria, working for American government, for the European companies, and so on. So also this will help inspire our youth and use it as an alternative. Also there is this PwC research called Nigerian Brands Export as the optimal path of developing Nigeria. They talk about Nigeria as our nation, our greatest resource is our brands, not the mineral resources underneath us. So we need to find a way we can export our greatest resource, which is our brand. And this is doable. Other countries are doing it. Like India is making over 100 billion US dollars from business process outsourcing. Nigeria in oil and gas, the highest we made was 30-something billion US dollars about 12 years ago. So looking at just India making 100 billion US dollars per annum through brand export. And also based on that PwC research, they said globally there is a vacancy for over 4 million tech jobs. Nigeria can conveniently train between 1.5 to 2 million youth and place them on that jobs. Doing that, averagely, tech professional earn between 60 to 100 and something US dollars. Let's say just because they are Nigerian, they are working remotely, they will earn just 20,000 US dollars. If you do that 20,000 US dollars, if you multiply it by 2 million, you get nothing less than 40 billion US dollars per annum. I think this is enough to address our forex challenge in Nigeria and also provide an alternative to cyber crime. So these are part of the inspiration. We need to find a way to communicate with our youth and also to have policies that will support all this. So in conclusion, I think this is a platform that will trigger the conversation, not just on how to fight cyber criminals, but how to find an alternative to cyber crime. So I think this should be just the beginning, not the end. And also, we need to engage all stakeholders to sit together to see how we can orchestrate this journey of getting alternative to cyber crime in Nigeria. Thank you for your attention.
Your Excellency, Governor Abdurrahman Abrazak, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Olu Kaide, and other dignitaries and fellow panelists, it's indeed a pleasure to be here. And DG, thank you very much for a very robust and in-depth speech. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. So I think we'll go straight into it. And I think you raised quite a few points. And I think clearly we have, I wouldn't say we have a challenge, but it's not all gloom and doom. I think having a platform like this to discuss it gives me a lot of hope, because I think it is through dialogue that we can change some of these challenges into opportunities. So I think we'll start with where you also started, and just maybe get some views and opinions from my fellow panelists. Now, this is it's an unusually large panel, so I might call on people randomly, but also encourage that if anybody has a view to express, that they should please feel free to jump in. So I think let's start with the motivation. Now, people just don't get up and do these things. There has to be something that calls them to it. And I think it's quite apt for us to explore a little bit what are the social economic factors that lead to cybercrime. So perhaps we can start with the DG of the central bank, given you were my former boss in my former life.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say I think the DG of Night actually touched on some of them, but the few ones that comes to mind, it's some people go into this, aside from the ones that he mentioned, actually some of them he mentioned talked about online activism, advocates for social causes and awareness. Activism. People participate in online, in cybercrime for wealth. I think he painted a scenario where he spoke about the, he mentioned a particular group of people who, love to go to parties for show of wealth. There are cases of committing, and then of course there is of committing of cyber crime. We do recall that many years ago, it was very much easy to actually go into a bank and rob a bank. And of course, people were scared of getting caught. But in these days and time, you can actually sit in the comfort of your home and just commit a crime without having to be physically present. And of course, the huge payoff. Cyber criminal can steal as much as billions of naira for attack. We do recall that in 2016, Hare's attack against the Central Bank of Bangladesh, the criminal actually had targeted, I think it was $1 billion, but he ended up stealing just about $86 million. That is huge. So, I mean, this just points to the fact that there's so much high reward incentive for cyber criminals. According to statistics, he did say that cyber attack is estimated at a cost of 8.15 trillion. It was estimated at $8.15 trillion in 2024. So you could imagine the huge payoff when people get themselves, involved with cyber crime. And of course, the widened playing field for the cyber criminals. In the past, I did say that, I mean, you would require targeting a single business. Often it takes days to actually, involves weeks of planning to actually attack a certain location or a certain business. But today, cyber criminals can actually do that by targeting multiple businesses simultaneously, automating their attacks to strike several organizations with just a single push of button. And of course, the last one for me is just the human element. I know that when the First Lady was talking to us today, where he spoke about, upbringing and discipline that the mother instilled in her, it actually points to the fact that, I mean, it's just the human element. How were you raised? I mean, this significantly just increases the method and ease of conducting cybercrime. If you have that discipline in you, you don't need to involve in crime. And of course, it's so easy to gain access to treasuries now that we couldn't easily have access to before now. I did say email, you can impersonate the phishing emails, the social engineering that he spoke about, and of course, just identity theft. So it's so easy to actually just execute on this cyber crime successfully without even leaving the comfort of your home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG. I think you mentioned quite a few things. I think the one that resonates with me is the fact that we're no longer talking about crime which is physical in nature. We're now talking about digital crime and the fact that the big numbers that have been mentioned by all the speakers since the morning, and also the ability for this type of crime to scale is a real challenge. Okay, so I've been corrected that I'm meant to allow everyone to give opening comments. So starting with DG, I guess you gave the opening speech, so we can move on to the next panelist.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, DG, for the opening comments and for all the comments that were made this morning. I think that it's interesting. My opening comments are going to be centered around how attitudes have changed towards crime. 25 years ago, if we were sitting in this room together, we would be concerned about whether we locked our front doors or not. Today, when you see people panic because they've lost something, it's because they've misplaced their phone. And it's not because of the value of the phone, but it's because of what can be done to effectively harm them in terms of theft with that phone. So attitudes have changed because technology has moved on. I think that what we need to begin to do now is to think about some of the things that were mentioned before. What is the motivation for this? How can we begin to put measures in place to reduce our exposure. I think importantly, and I'm mindful of the numbers of people here, importantly, I think one of the things that has concerned me personally the most is that Nigeria is one of the most branded, well-branded countries in the world. There are countries in the world that if I mention them to you now, most of us would never have heard of. Everyone has heard of Nigeria. Everyone's heard about Nigeria. But you know, the first comment you get when you introduce yourself as a Nigerian tends to be, you know, are you a prince? Are you the son of a king? You know, come and scam me. I received 5 emails this morning. You know, so we've got this brand label on us now that is preventing and putting barriers up in terms of people being able to trust us, and it's all centered around cybercrime. So, you know, opening remarks, I think what we need to do here is begin to look at how we can even change that image. And I thank the executive chairman of the Efcc for putting this together, because it's as much of an image issue as the crime itself, because that image issue is preventing the inflow of investment into this country and is putting a huge trust barrier between the world who wants to invest and Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, for me, I like to say that cybersecurity it's an ongoing battle, actually akin to the cat and mouse game, because as we constantly improve protection across, you know, our cybersecurity infrastructure, of course, cyber criminals are simultaneously also improving theirs, and therefore it's crucial that we continually just strengthen our cybersecurity framework, enhancing control, and there could never be a better time to actually meet and discuss, you know, cybersecurity's alternative. There could never be a better time like this just to help the youth population. And there is need to continue to collaborate, to continue to share information both nationally and internationally, just so that we can continually create the awareness, you know, for both the financial institution and of course the underserved in the rural population. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Your Excellency, Chairman of Nigeria's Governors Forum, the First Lady of Kwara State, all distinguished guests. I stand on the existing protocol. I wish to commend yet again the Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes for bringing this program forward, especially considering the fact that it is made the second time, which I consider is in furtherance of the EFCC's, you know, strategic objective 2021 to 2025. Number one is continuous engagement and enlightenment of the public in the fight against corruption. And I'm very happy to be opportune to be here to speak on this issue, because I believe that over and beyond what I call the software part of the conversation, which is cybercrime, what is fundamental is leaning on what His Excellency Governor of Kwara says, mentioned in his opening remarks, the issue of culture and value, which now goes to the fundamental hardware issue of the conversation I want to speak to, which is the youth of this country that I call the critical national asset. And in the words of a renowned American social reformer, Frederick Douglass, he said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And I think that resonates with what His Excellency Chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum mentioned, along the lines of His Eminence, Sultan, and other eminent personalities. And to that extent, I think it is good to add to the narratives and the statistics we got, to also dimension the value of this critical national asset, for us to appreciate the sense of urgency that EFCC is generating at this moment. Because further down the line, we should recognize that the solution, whether alternatives to cybercrime or fighting corruption in its totality, lies within the hardware part of the issue, and that is the people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a people's issue. And that people's issue is a fundamental issue to resolving all the other issues going forward. To put things in context, Nigeria currently has the largest population of youth in the world, with a median age of 18.1 years of age. About 70% of the population is under 30, and 42% is under the age of 15. The World Bank also stated in a report that 74% of the global growth of the youth population aged 18 to 23 will be majorly in Nigeria. I repeat, will be majorly in Nigeria and 9 other countries from 2015 to 2025. That is a food for thought for us to understand what we have today and what will potentially come. The World Bank also reiterated that such a high number of young people is an opportunity for the continent's growth, but only if these new generations are fully empowered to realize their best potential. It is also especially important that young people are included in decision-making and given appropriate opportunities for work to innovate. DG Nida made a lot of remarks about that and a lot of initiatives to that effect, which is commendable, involving young people, not just gainfully employed with regards to the alternative to cyber crimes, but also other aspects of our society. So I'm very happy to be here and to contribute immensely to this conversation and also to learn. But essentially, while we are having this conversation, we should understand that the bane or the fundamental of our problem is a people issue, and we should dimension around that. The First Lady, Her Excellency, also mentioned that, and then later on we'll talk about how we also are part of the problem. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'm also very happy to be here. The DG NIDA have addressed the background for why we are here. He talked about the motivation and the measures to address these issues. But I think we all have a collective responsibility, all of us in this hall and as Nigerians. What is it? What are the major challenges that we have? What are the causes of this cybercrime? We all know majorly we talked about unemployment, which I know each and every one of us here will address. Then beyond that, the quest for wealth. But why do people actually do this? I want to dimension it in 4 perspectives. There's what I call the 4 E's. 1, environment. The environment we find ourselves. How do we celebrate these people that go through this? How are they treated? Both in the social environment, in religious environment, in our family, in whatever setup. The second E I'll talk about is education. Education is very important, very paramount. Like the 2 examples we were given here, we're talking about that these are students in the universities because they wanted to pay their school fees. So we need to talk about that. And I'm very happy that the DG NILDA is here, National Education Loans Fund. And then we also talk about experience. What kind of experience are these people having? What are they exposed to? Then the last E is the exposure. So we also have a responsibility for us collectively to address these issues. I know it's not something beyond us, it's something we can. And I'm sure by the time the panelists and everybody in this hall identifies the alternative to cyber crimes, how we can engage our youths, I am sure we'll be able to address this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Cybercrime is one of the biggest threats we face today in our environment as a country and as a nation. And that's due to the fact that there's low barrier to entry. All you require is your mobile phone, your internet, and you can do anything on the internet today. That said, at the forefront of technology and payment lies trust. And that trust today is under threat. If today you go anywhere in the world, I think you are from Nigeria, and they say, oh, Nigerian prince or whatever, we have to do something about it. And that's why for us at Florida Wave, we're very happy to be part of the Efcc program to combat this thing at a very national level and solve that problem at scale as well. For us, we see an opportunity whereby we can deliberately, intentionally solve problems on cybercrime and create a robust cybersecurity for the nation. Like the former panelist said as well, and Africa is home to 1 billion people. Nigeria is home to people average age 18 to 21. That is huge. That can become a huge talent opportunity for Nigeria and for Africa. Our biggest export is not anything but people and talent. If we're able to harness that properly and build it the right way, we can get a piece of the pie that is there globally. We can have an average young Nigerian based in Lagos, Abuja, Osogbo, wherever in the world in Nigeria they are based. They will be able to export their talent globally when trust is assured and people are being trained the right way. So I'm happy to be here to be a part of the conversation. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. All dignitaries here present and standing on existing protocol. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be here to speak with not just stakeholders and colleagues in a common aim and fight against economic and financial crimes and cyber crimes as well. Or before now, if we're spanning back, let's say a decade ago, even down to 5 years ago, if you're looking at the critical mass of what represents victimology in cybercrime, you will see that the numbers will show you, depending on where you're drawing your statistics from, if it's through a survey that's been carrying out researches or any other kind of data that has been put out in the public space, that the victims are usually outside the shores of this country and the attacks originate from Nigeria. Hence, quote and unquote, the term or the phrase, the Nigerian print and all of that. But looking at use cases for the past 3 years coming down, even a little slight beyond that, we now find that more Nigerians are becoming victims. In fact, I can boldly tell you here that we have potential victims here if we don't have more local victims here, present here in the country. And that, can be attributed to poor enlightenment, on data security individually from end users. And because of this, there is need for us to now look inward. What do I mean? There is need for us to take this into cognizance by upscaling engagement towards public enlightenment, also strengthening policies and laws, taking into consideration emerging technologies to meet the threats that are ongoing and to come, because this line of, or this realm of criminality that we're talking about is geometric in nature. And unfortunately, the enforcement angle, the regulatory angle, sadly has to play catch-up from time to time. But it is not a lost battle. It is something that with concerted effort from all stakeholders will be able to surmount in time. So we are going to, my own recommendation to this is for us to increase our engagement locally, because internationally, the precedent has already been set, and it is an ongoing campaign, if you allow me to use that word, as we continue to collaborate with stakeholders across different jurisdictions around the world. But locally, I think it's time we start paying attention to what I consider the present danger that presents itself across the country with local victims. And we read out the numbers. Annually, we're looking at 250 billion. And I think that is even a modest figure, because most of these crimes go largely underreported, because depending on where the incidents occur, there are no proper or standard set procedures or protocols for which they are to be responded to. And these crimes are time-bound. So there's a lot of latency between when it happens and when the key stakeholders react to try to solve this problem. And so all of this should be taken into perspective, and we should start looking locally on how to also protect potential victims locally. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to be talking as a creative. We can't talk about cybercrime without talking about the role the creative industry has played in promoting cybercrime. I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me that our music, our movies go a long way in promoting cybercrime. In Nigeria today, we promote people in cybercrime than modest people. I'm so sure nobody has sang about our CEO of Flutter, GB. I'm sure you've heard of his name in any song. But if I mention like 3-4 names, I'm sure you've heard of all these names. So I think the most important thing for us is to collaborate with people in the creative industry. The good thing is, the same way the creative industry has played that negative role, this same industry can play a positive role in changing the narrative about cybercrime. We all have our phones, we all watch content, we all watch movies. But in a situation where every time you're on your phone, the content you're watching is the one promoting Yahoo Yahoo, is the one promoting Wire Wire. It's just psychological. Our kids will tune into that. They will start, not intentionally, but they will just find themselves trying to do that. So I think a major thing we need to do also is to collaborate with stakeholders in the creative industry. And when I say the creative industry, I'm talking about our actors, I'm talking about our musicians, I'm talking about people in the fashion industry, because people tend to listen to them more, even than we in the governmental sector. Thank you very much.
Good day, Your Excellencies, and standing on the established order of protocol. It's a pleasure to join this conversation. In the conversation since morning, we've identified the need to have alternatives to cybercrime. Now, for me, there are two key components. We've spoken about the environment, but a key thing that we need to do as a nation is develop a strategic approach to providing alternatives to cybercrime. And I will start from the basic. We need to sit down and rejig our curriculum from what our children see in the primary schools through secondary school. And when you do that, you would largely have begun to win the war. Now, one key thing is that when you address, of course, some of the other issues you need to address, the economic issues of whether people who cannot access power to power their phones and all of that. But when you address all of that, you come to the fact that you can then teach children at the level of primary education that they can gain skills that will be gainfully employed. Someone has already mentioned that. We have seen people make use of their skills to earn money, but on the average and on a larger scale, how many people get to do that? It's become more difficult. So there's the need to address access. When we address access, then we address skills. And when you address skills, you then get to the point of opportunities. So you have courses, but on the opposite side, you need to have chances. Those are the two key things that we need to address the fight against cybercrime. Now, I'm going to speak about a strategic approach. In the run-up, in the negotiations to elaborate a new convention on cybercrime at the UN level, one of the key things that took center stage was dedicating a whole chapter on prevention. Now, we all know, we say prevention is better than cure, but there are instances, and from a practitioner's point of view, you actually have instances, and I'll give two of them. One, where you're able, through strategic programs that are implemented dedicatedly, that prevent on an average, out of 100 children exposed from the level of primary school to between primary school and secondary school, you can safely say you would have snatched away 80%, if not 90%, of kids that may be exposed or be induced to go into cybercrime. That's one aspect. The other aspect is we need to build a culture that addresses recidivism. That is, we must provide opportunities. Again, courses and chances. We must provide opportunities for even some of the people who have engaged in cybercrime, have been arrested, have been convicted. There is an opportunity for them to understand that they can apply those skills in a more meaningful way. But this has to be done through a strategic program that has to be implemented across, I would say, across the country. Those will be my opening remarks at this point. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, distinguished guest, I am super excited to be here today, and I am very thankful for this opportunity. Now, as a social media influencer that I am, I will use my field to do what I know how to do best at this point, which is being a cybercrime influencer. I believe that if we have a problem, we need solutions. Now, we also need to figure out why we have these problems in the first place. As a youth and a young person in Nigeria of today, I'm a graduate, I have 2 degrees, and I know how hard it is to go through school for years and then you come out and unemployment is a very big issue. Now, like I said, as a social media influencer, I will specialize in my field. There are boundless opportunities on the internet that is yet to be explored. And I know that, we have thousands of graduates out there that do not even know about these things. For me, I would say we should create awareness of these boundless opportunities. They are very simple. All you need is your phone and data. You see people online telling you things like, oh, can you help me with 2K? I want to load data on my phone, I don't have money. Can you please help me with 10K? What if I tell you that with just little steps and instructions, you can actually make legit money without having to stress? Now, to be a scammer in the first place, you have to be a very intelligent person. I keep saying these things. Scammers are not dumb people. Am I right? Before you can rob me of my money, you have to be very sound. For you to convince me to remove something that I have worked hard for, then you are good. The same way we do irresponsible things. You know, to be irresponsible is actually, it takes a lot to be a scammer. You have to go through, you don't just wake up one day and carry your laptop and say, I'm a scammer. People learn these things. They go to mentors to actually find out how to go about it. That same way, what if I tell you that you don't need a mentor to actually make money as Nigerian youths? You could just take up your phone, Google how to make money on the internet. There's affiliate marketing, there's stock photography, there's YouTube creation, there's content creation, the same TikTok that most people just look at it and say, oh, these kids are unserious on TikTok. I can tell you for a fact that TikTok pays in dollars. On Instagram, you do adverts, you make money. YouTube pays in dollars. You don't necessarily have to have a talent. I understand that many graduates out there would go to school. For instance, let's say you studied accounting or you studied medicine, and for some reason you've been finding it hard to just move on in life. Do you realize that you could actually just open a YouTube channel and then show people your skills? If you know you don't have a singing talent, but you can write good music, write these things and send to producers. These little steps actually give people money and makes room for long-term employment. But we don't know these things, and it's so sad. Unfortunately, when you talk about social media these days or influencers, some people think that it is an unserious business, but it is an unserious business that pays in dollars. My team and I opened a YouTube channel about 6 months ago. For 3 months, we didn't even use it. I can tell you that within the last 3 months, we have been monetized. And soon we'll start to receive money in dollars too, because we have been making movies, putting it out on our YouTube, and YouTube will knock at our door and say, here are the dollars, so you can have it. Yes, it's quite simple. This is my field, and this is how best I know how to explain it. But I tell you what, I don't know everything. All I have to do is use Google. I don't even do all of these things that I mentioned. I'm an actor, a comedian, a model, and an influencer, of course. But I still have to make sure that I keep up with my game. So if the youths can actually explore, we need to tell them the awareness that pick up your phone and research. There's enough, we complain about unemployment, I understand it, but it is not about going to a particular company to submit your CV. I have friends that are graduates that make money from the comfort of their houses. And it is quite simple. This is what I would just say, there's a problem, fix it. It's not all about the government. As a person yourself, what research have you made to give you money? Fine, you don't know how to dance. You want to talk, you could just make a YouTube and talk about your life every day, Make random videos, post it on TikTok. Next thing you know, you are growing followers. It is very easy. There are apps, there are applications. I even heard of a app that when you just go on live video, all you have to do is to show your daily activities and you will get paid. It is that simple. But no, we believe that when we go to school, we have to go to a particular company. Then we'll knock, please, I'm trying to. You will stammer, you will stutter, and you might still not get the job. What happened to using your phone? When you are typing on using Siri, Siri doesn't make you stammer now. So these are easy ways we can actually, reduce the problem of crime, unemployment, and unnecessary wahala in this country. I'm telling you, it starts with us. Thank you very much, and this is my contribution.
Wow, it seems like ages ago when I handed over the mic to my fellow panelists to start. I think we should give the panelists another round of applause. I was a bit nervous given the size, but I think the diversity of opinion has been very, very rich. But the one theme that has pulled everything together is people. And it's probably something we'll come back to when we come back to the discussion. But next, I'll open the floor to the distinguished guests and the audience to ask the panelists a few questions. I think the MC has to bring the mic to you.
All right, please, can you assign numbers to them so we know who is asking and when?
Number one. So if you can make your question very short, try to keep it under 1 minute, please.
Okay, thank you. Your Excellency, the panelists and distinguished guests, permit me to stand on the existing protocols. My name is Ambassador Piegbe Emmanuel Uwebari. I want to directly ask a very salient question to the DG of NIDA. Sir, is your agency, NIDA or NCC, in charge of enforcement of cybersecurity? That's number one. The second question is, sir, you said we have about 25,000 cybersecurity professionals in Nigeria, if I'm right. Sir, I want to speak a bit from my background. I studied accounting, and I happened to work with Guaranty Trust Bank, Intercontinental Bank, and Access Bank. When I was in the banking sector, I only know of one cyber security professional that used to come and test all our branches nationwide. On a final note, sir, can we create what I refer to as a distinct skills university or college, where these our youth, I'm a young Nigerian, we can bring all of them. Yes, they didn't learn it from anywhere, but they are sound, just like what that lady said. You can't be a scammer if you're not sound. Can we see how we can bring all of them under one roof? Instead of punishing them, let's explore, because even the chairman, EFCC, said there is one he invited to his office, and he said, give me your laptop. He didn't even give him his password, but before you know, he has opened the password. The laptop, sorry. So, just like in the case in the Niger Delta region, we have a lot of bunkering. And the former government came up with the issue of bringing all of them under one roof and try to do a little refinery. These are what we can do, just like what she's saying. We can't destroy those brains. They are high-tech brains. We need to create a distinct skills university. Let those guys go through it.
Thank you very much.
What happens.
Thank you very much for your question. Who's next, please? Do you want to take them once? All right. Over to you. So please keep it brief, your name, and then straight to your question. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Chief Obi Nanwaka. Permit me to rest on the existing protocol. I'm a youth leader, and every day we engage the youth. In fact, most of the panelists, the audience, you are all emphasizing on youth. Let us not forget that these youths, they are from one particular family or the other. And what they are doing today in the society is as a result of what the leaders are also doing. Please, if I'm harsh, please just allow me to continue. We are here to discuss about the issue of National Cybercrime Summit. You see, corruption is like a flood. If you don't create way for a river or a water to flow smoothly, it must surely do what? Find its way to do what? To survive, to penetrate, and to live.
So what's your question, sir?
My question is governance. We are not talking about governance at all. But I'm very, very delighted that the chairman of Nigerian Governors Forum is here. The fundamental challenge that is leading to all this unemployment, insecurity we are just talking about is poor governance. If we can address this issue of poor governance, we are going to do what? This issue of lack of employment, we have addressed it. Now, what we are seeing on internet every day, if we don't address it, more we are going to do what? To watch more Nigerian youths to go into this market of what? Cybercrime. If you go to Ikoyi registry, all those young people marrying old women, it's cybercrime, oh. It's cybercrime. They don't mean well for those women. Two, now how do we address this good governance? We have the issue of local government autonomy. And you see some people, they are kicking against it. Some people are even calling for EFCC to be scrapped. It's not constitutionally established. What is constitutionally established? Okay, let us take, for instance, if you remove a woman in the family or our mothers from the family, imagine how our youth, the children, are going to turn into. Now, remove EFCC from Nigeria and ask ourselves question, can we sit here in the next 1 year if we remove EFCC in Nigeria? So let us use ourselves as leaders, for example.
You have
if
10
you are
seconds.
sent to any office,
Okay,
make sure you deliver on your money,
Chief.
because the youths are watching you.
Thank you
We are
very
going
much.
to have leadership in Cybercrime Summit tomorrow. If we do not address this issue once and for all.
Thank you very much. With that, please let's keep our questions brief within 60 seconds, please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, my name is Adam Zotaku, Coordinator, Civil Military Cooperation, CIMICO, and Chairperson, Conference of Civil Societies. Let me begin by commending very earnestly the EFCC for this noble and timely initiative. And of course, this is not the first time the EFCC would be doing this, and particularly engaging civil societies, a core national asset for the country that constitutes 68% of the population sector of the country and exists within the context of voluntary associations and intermediary bodies to hold public office holders to accountability. Why has the EFCC been able to record resounding successes? It is attributable to the fact that the EFCC has over the period engaged and collaborated with the Nigerian civil society. And that is why the civil society salutes the EFCC for that initiative and for always collaborating and carrying the civil society along. Now, that is important because the national security doctrine of the country, the Cyber Security and Cybercrime Act of 2015, the Miscellaneous Offences Act of 2016, and even the Cybercrime bill, or rather, policy that is before the National Security Advisor's Office, which I proudly was part of those who proposed it in 2020. And even the philosophy of Mr. President to reform the security doctrine of the country in a manner that will accommodate all stakeholders in the national security fight. All of this in principle emphasize the need for a whole of society approach to cyber security and national security management.
Time up, sir. So 10 seconds, please, to land on your question.
To NITDA, to the CBN, and to other panelists, there is a need for you people and these organizations to take a leave and borrow a leave from what the EFCC is doing. You have to deliberately engage with the civil society. In the presentation of NITDA, fortunately or unfortunately, civil society wasn't mentioned there.
All right, we have to accommodate other questions, but we have to thank you so much, sir.
CBN.
The eagle is watching, sir. Don't allow the eagle to catch you. Please, let's put our hands together for him so we can give chance to other people to ask their questions. May I have the mic? Thank you very much. I understand that there's a young student who wants to ask a question, so please need to take her question quickly. So you tell us your name, your school, and then your question.
My name is Honorable Asiveka Chizaram Manuela from JSS Kuba 1. I'm from FCT UBEB. My question is, how does the 4 E's affect increase in cybercrime?
Do you want to take that again? How does the 4
E's?
Okay, I see all of them. They are thinking, how do we answer this question? We'll come to you for that question. Please, let's put our hands together for her. Thank you so much. You can have your seat. How does the 4 E's affect cybercrime? We're coming to you very soon. So, who's next?
I think let's take one more question.
One more question. So, who do we go to?
Let's go to the right of the you
right.
choose.
So, give me, who do I go to? It has to be. Women. If I were to take 10 questions from them. So one question, please go straight to the point, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Sarah Oga Aduwari, MNI. I'm here with the National Council of Women for Women's Societies. My question is the issue of curriculum. One of the moderators talked about the 4 E's: environment, education, experience, and exposure, and rightly so. How or what step is the EFCC taking to collaborate with the ministries of education? Because sometimes when we wait until it is too late, it becomes a huge challenge. You have said a lot here about ignorance, about the fact that our children are learning the wrong things. How can we include these in our curriculum to ensure that the children are learning right from primary school? Like it or not, ICT is our new normal. They can maneuver this computer or these phones even more than we, their mothers. We don't really know much to put them through. But if we work hand in hand with the schools, we'll be able to inculcate in them the right values in this area of cybercrime. Sometimes mere rhetorics are not enough. We should put our words into action. We must include this in our curriculum so that the children, our youths, will learn early enough the dangers of cyber crime, and they will put their skills into the right use. Sometimes when the children go wrong, they will say, it's the mothers, it's the mothers. The mothers are speaking now. Please help us. Let them learn these things from schools too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Spoken like a true mother. So over to you now. We'll take responses to the questions.
I think
it's his call.
We have 3 questions, but I'd also like to thank Chief Obina and Comrade Adams for their comments and this thing. I'm sure my panelists and fellow DGs and MDs we've all taken note, and it's something that hopefully within the coming days and months you'll see some action. So I think the first question was directed to Nidda, so we'll take a response from the DG.
So thank you very much. I think he asked 3 questions in one. The first one is, who is responsible? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, the first one was, who is responsible for cybersecurity in Nigeria? We have the Cybercrime Act, which has the Office of the National Security Advisor as the coordinating agency. And NIDA is a sectorial SAT, NCC is a sectorial SAT, CBN is a sectorial SAT. And now the act is undergoing review, and they want to split it into 2, because the challenge is having NSA coordinating cybersecurity. Banks will not disclose everything to them because they will think they will share with EFCC. EFCC will come and harass them. So we need to give it a civilian face. And the proposed review now is for NSA to coordinate the crime aspect, while NIDA to coordinate the cybersecurity aspect. Because the crime is about committing a crime, using computer or internet to commit a crime, while the security is about the knowledge, it's about building the expertise, it's about exchanging information and so on, which has to be civilian. The security agencies, they need information to do their work, but people will not naturally disclose everything to them. But there is a way you can get it without asking. So that's the part of the national cybersecurity architecture we are trying to build. It will address all these challenges. The second question was about professionals, number of professionals. There is this ISC2 cybersecurity workforce assessment report. They do annual assessment report globally. According to this year's estimation, in Nigeria, we have 25,700 and something, which has plus or minus 6.6% as our estimated professional workforce. And we have a gap of about 8,000 plus. Yes, that is estimation. But I know in Nigeria we have many cyber professionals. For example, I did my CCIE in 2009. Before I did the CCIE, which is the expert level, I did the professional level, including the cybersecurity professional. I know many people that did that. And also, we've been collaborating with Cisco. Even this month, we are doing professional training for Nigerians. Last year, we did a training in Kwara. We trained over 300 youth on cybersecurity after the professional levels. So we have many professionals in Nigeria, but sometimes you don't know if someone didn't disclose that he's professional. Even at NIDA, we have a cybersecurity department with more than 50 staff working there. They are all professionals. So maybe I'll just want to share this story with the students and the we in the room. Also, when you have a skills, it's good to stand out and get noted. I will never forget when I was serving with Ajakuta Steel Company, I was moving file from one office to another on 9-to-5 basis. Then I challenged myself. I read computer science. Why would I come here and be moving files? I asked my supervisor to give me an opportunity to develop a website for the company. He told me they don't have money, they cannot afford it. I said I will use my NYC Alawi to pay for the hosting and domain registration. That was in 2004. I did. Within 4 to 5 months, I was contacted by a company that they want me to develop a website for them. And they paid me 1.5 million naira to do that. So you can see, if you have skills also, don't just keep it to yourself. You need to try and show, and also try to be an expert in whatever you do. Don't just today do this, tomorrow do that. When you are expert, you will get employment. You don't need to look for it. For example, I never looked for a job. When I started, before finishing my NYC, I have something to do. And then when I did my CCIE, I never applied for CBN. They headhunted me to come and work for them because I display the skills I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you can see my DG has been a millionaire from a very young age. Okay, so I think we'll go on to the next question from...
Sorry, I know the lady spoke about including cybersecurity as part of the curricula in schools. I just wanted to address that point and to say that for us in Central Bank, aside from what the federal government is doing, we are actually working very closely with financial institutions to see how they can include cybersecurity in their curricula. Of course, this is also preparing the next generation of leaders. And why are we doing this? Financial inclusion is something that is very dear to the Central Bank of Nigeria. And of course, cybercrime tends to impact this very negatively, and it undermines public trust. Of course, if there's no public trust, people, especially people in underserved area, will actually avoid, the digital financial services. They'll avoid using digital banking platform. And so what we have done is to work very closely with financial institutions to see how they can include this in their curricula. And then, of course, another thing that we have also done, of course, I did say, is to try and actually strengthen our cybersecurity framework. So it's something that we're working on. It's something the Central Bank of Nigeria is working on to try and see how we can include cybersecurity as part of the curriculum in the institutions. Thank you.
Sorry, on the curriculum also, last week, the Minister of Education has launched digital literacy and skills curriculums. We developed that in collaboration. We helped them and supported them to develop that. And we are going to train teachers across the country on how to also be teaching digital literacy from primary school to tertiary institutions.
Thank you, DG. I think the last two questions are probably very similar, so I don't know whether you want to respond.
All right, thank you very much. I think my happiness is that at this event, people have gone out with the principle of the 4 E's. At least it has stuck to our memory. I know the woman from National Council of Women's Society talked about collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Education in terms of our educational syllabus, which is very important. And then the young lady, Chidera, asked, how does the 4 E's, how does it affect the fight against cybercrime? I think I was just using it to illustrate how we can address these issues. Education, we've talked about that one. The environment, where we grow up, where we stand. Some of us here are influenced by things that happen around our environment. There are certain locations we know in this country, I would not want to profile in this state, that you see there's a tendency for people that grew up from there want to see it as a normal way of life to get involved in this kind of cybercrime. So thank God the chairman of the Governors Forum is here. These are the kind of things we need to change the narrative. And then it's also in terms of the experience. What are they seeing? People that have gone through this, are they celebrated? Are they being punished for what they have done? Like the young lady said, we can see that one of the panelists talked about that even in terms of our content creation, the movies, we are celebrating people that get involved in this kind of a thing, which is not important. But please, before I leave, I'm from the Bank of Industry. I just want to tell us, so there's a program that the Bank of Industry is actually anchoring for the federal government of Nigeria, the IDICE program, which will be very good, one of the issues that we'll see that will address the cybercrime, and especially for the youth. This is a fund that is about $670 million US. And who are the financiers? African Development Bank is bringing $170 million. French Development Agency is bringing $160 million. Islamic Development Bank is bringing $70 million. And then the Bank of Industry, on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria, we are bringing in $45 million. There's also room for investors to bring in $208 million, and then the fund managers. And what is it? It's targeted at the youths between 18 and 35, strictly. And then this project, which I know is very key at the head of the government, because I know the vice president chairs this committee, at the end of the day, is going to create 6.1 million jobs for the country. And then 175,000 youths are going to be trained in tech. So this will actually change the narrative. I will help address this concern about cybersecurity. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just to allude to some of the facts that the last panelist has just spoken about with respect to how best to incorporate cybercrime in curriculums. We must not forget that while it is never too early to start preaching anti-cybercrime, we must remember that the aim here is not just about putting it in the educational system through a curriculum. It says that if you need to change a person, you need to change the way the person thinks. So it's about changing the mindset. And that is where the various pillars of the community come into play, which is the home, not just the school, the home, the religious institutions, and of course, the entire society, which will take us back to the adage, the African adage that it takes a village to raise a child, and every child is your child. And if we look at this and follow it, then we will know that we ourselves, as we represent the different pillars of society, we stand to set an example for these kids, for these individuals of a certain age. First of all, by not celebrating illegally gotten means of wealth, even in the religious setting, also the same way by speaking against it and not celebrating it. In society, the same thing, down to the homes. If kids come back home with things that are questionable, the parents should be able to ask, how did you come about this? Rather than saying, oh, you are getting the burden off my neck by doing this and doing that. These are things that over the time we have seen during the course of enforcement actions. And I think it is worthy to note that it is important that we take this into consideration and not just focus on trying to look for a subject that we will just incorporate into a curriculum, but also be mindful of what happens not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I may remark, can I make
Okay, maybe we take the last one because I'm told we've run out of time.
Okay, real quick, in my opening remarks, I said we have a people issue and it's becoming a consensus. So to add to that, we have not also addressed another key people issue, which is quintessential leadership. I agree, the last panelist was on point with regards to our value system, like His Excellency mentioned earlier. But what is important is the leadership value chain, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. When our leaders, whether political leaders, whether technocrats, whether traditional leaders or even religious leaders, celebrate materialism, we see them behaving as if we are not living in challenging times. There is no amount of preaching or no amount of pep talk
that will dissuade most of these youths from doing what they are doing, whether it is cybercrime or any form of corruption. Because indeed, we are crassly celebrating corruption. While growing up, we know one of the key learning abilities of a child and a youth is socialization, and that is influence. So if you see those that are leading you, living in a way and manner that is not in tandem with what they are telling you to do, we can sit here and have 10,000 summits, it is not going to change. So it behoves on all of us that belong to the leadership value chain to live in a way and manner that should reflect what we are telling our children to do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Another round of applause, please, for the panelists. Unfortunately, we've been told we've run out of time. I think we'll have an opportunity for closing comments. But I think it's, like I said, the thing, despite the diverse views and the diverse comments, I think what brings everything together for me is the people. And two things have stood out about people. We've spoken about values, we've spoken about education, and like Her Excellency, the First Lady, was very apt when she spoke about the fact that it is what we instill within our children that gives us the foundation to build upon. So I think in closing, I'd like to go around the panelists, and please can we keep it to 30 seconds each? And I'd just like you to say a word or two about within your area or within your own lens through which you see things, whether personally or through your profession. What do you think, what would you say is the long-term strategy that needs to be put in place to ensure that we are minimizing the risk of cybercrime in Nigeria and globally? So starting from Mrs. Adedamola.
Thank you very much. So I quickly want to say something now. Whether we like it or not, money runs the world. And if I show you an easier way to make money, I tell you, your narrative will change. If I can show you that you don't need to struggle and struggle and struggle, there's just one small easy way you can use. Would you not follow my way? Of course you would. Now, I believe that if we have not explored enough. If we explore enough, we will really see that there are boundless, when I say boundless opportunities on the internet and on cyberspace that can actually give us money. Now, concerning the educative part, yes, education, we all know that it's not just about, children going to school to learn that, oh, you have to do this to be good and be bad or anything like that. I am super excited, and I am so happy that I have been able to collaborate and still collaborating with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission through to change the narrative. We have been making short films, videos to spread the awareness, and hopefully in the nearest future we would have movies, songs. We'll explore through the industry, entertainment industry, to show people and to preach the good word or the gospel that you can actually make legit money. We are what we listen to, we are what we eat, we are what we see, right? Now, if you listen to, let's use for example, you see young people listening to trap songs. I have friends and families that have actually had serious issues with their kids because when they listen to these songs, it is automatically a problem. I'm a very young person, please don't get me wrong, but have you not noticed that when you listen to positive things, and you listen to motivational speakers talk, whether you like it or not, one part of you wants to accept what they have said and motivate yourself. Now, this is what the Economic and Financial Crimes is working on currently to make sure that the youth can see and understand that there's a brighter future, the easier way, which is the legit way through my industry. Yes, I'll say that. So I would just like to say that if I show you, like I said, if I show you an easier way to make money, whether you like it or not, you follow it, even if you don't want to accept it, which I believe everybody would accept it. So let us please learn to explore and use our phones more, Type on Google, how can I be monetized on TikTok? We have older people even on social media that are actually making money. 60-year-old women, older generation. It's not just about the youth. And concerning education, discipline and values can only be taught at home first. Do not be a friend to your child when you are meant to be their coach in life. From 0 to 5, you are training your children.
Mr. Damola, can you round up?
I'm so sorry, yes. All I'm trying to say is this. My apologies, please. The change begins with us. If we keep telling ourselves that, the government or it's one reason that we are holding back, then we can never move forward. Because even if you give a child a spoon to eat, if they are not willing to use it, you can't force them unless you feed them. And the government will not come and spoon feed you. So you have to take these opportunities by yourself. If you see it, grab it. If people are throwing it to you, use it. Don't just sit and hold on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'll just appeal that we try and keep it to 30 seconds. The idea is let's give the audience something that they can, a call to action that they can take away. So what is that long-term strategy within your own area or lens of life that you would say we need to go away with today?
Thank you very much. Again, I would reiterate the fact that first, we need to identify the skills that are there. And this is on 2 levels, like I said earlier. You need to address the people who are coming up, so getting the children from that very young age to understand that they don't even need to venture into cybercrime, but they can have the skills and use them profitably. That's 1. 2, we, as has been noticed, we have a large number of citizens who are skilled but have been convicted for one cybercrime or another. We need to understand and implement a strategic plan that will allow us take benefit of those skills, reduce recidivism, reduce reoffending. And this, like I said, has to be run through a strategic program that will, of course, include curriculum redesign. And when we speak about education, it is not all about getting degrees in, some people want to go and do a master's in cyber. Now, with cyber, by the time you go and spend a year or a year and a half doing, especially the technical aspects, what you've learned probably has become obsolete. So there are skill sets that we should prioritize and then train our people how they can use them. It doesn't need only to be in media. It doesn't need to be even in movies. Actually, part of the cybersecurity...
Can we round up?
Yes,
30
I will.
seconds.
Part of the cybersecurity value chain is that when you use these skills, you will also be growing cyber resilience. It's key. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Now, the whole point of doing fraud is to make money, right? I'll just encourage our parents to help invest in kids with talent. It goes a long way. Also, we shouldn't just put it in the hands of the government, or the federal government should provide creative hubs and all. I would encourage our governors to build creative hubs, not just for tech people, even people in the creative sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, from an enforcement perspective, this kind of engagement is encouraged and it should be ongoing. That means we should keep the conversation going. That means we should continually look and encourage to establish more handshakes with stakeholders, both locally and internationally, to make sure that at every point in time we're exchanging ideas, we're exchanging views, and we're better positioning ourselves to be dynamic enough to face these dynamic challenges and hopefully stay ahead of the curve. Thank you.
Today's conversation has shown that obviously EFCC cannot do this alone. And that's why I think partnership is important. It's not just technical to solve the problem. We have to collaborate, educate, and have a lot more government-private partnerships to ensure that we can do our best to put in the right effort to combat this epidemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you once again. Bank of Industry as an organization, we have deliberate programs to expose the youth in terms of finance for them to be able to start up their own businesses. And to also address this technological issue, we have opened 15 technology hubs across the country, different states, and many more will still be open. So please, I will advise the youths and everybody here, visit our website, www.boi.ng. There's so many opportunities, even for NYSC, the youths, and other people. Thank you very much.
3 quick points to close for me. I think the theme, we are forayed away from the themes, alternative to cybercrime. Real quick, for those that are not aware, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, during the celebration of the 90th birthday of our former head of state, Yakubu Gowon, announced that the African Development Bank has earmarked $100 million for the setup of what is called the youth counter, it's an investment bank for the youths. So you should also go there and see how you can get supported to use your skills to grow. If I may refer us to the new renewed hope manifesto of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Page 25 said, he said, in addition to encouraging such bold and creative young game changers, and that is the youth of Nigeria, a Tinubu administration will strive to create 1 million new jobs in ICT sector within the first 24 months in office. Our plan includes intervention in the ICT industry and other critical sectors of the Nigerian economy where deployment of new technologies can fast-track business growth and diversification, and the DG of NISDA has mentioned this initiative. So to comfort a lot of our people, there are alternatives. Pointedly to the chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, Your Excellency, there's a model in Jigawa over 20 years ago, Informatics Institute, which has been upgraded to a polytechnic, which has been, churning out, youths with skill sets that they can be self-reliant. I think governors should emulate that going forward. To close, I leave us with a quote by Peter Drucker, a management guru. Culture will always have strategy for breakfast. So while we have strategies and we are thinking of alternatives, value reorientation, of honesty, integrity, hard work should also be inculcated in that curriculum, not just the cyber, security or the cyber capacity. It is very key so that the culture will drive whatever we do. That way, our strategy will work. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. So for us in CBN, we're actually working on a couple of initiatives to ensure that we actually nip the cyber threats on the board. One of it I've spoken about, strengthening the cyber security measures in the financial institutions, just to make sure that they are robust enough. Another thing that we're actually doing, we actually have a cyber security operations center. That center works 24 hours, 7 days a week, just to monitor the cyber threat and the incident response. And of course, this happens online, real time. One thing that truly comes to mind is public awareness. I think we need to do a lot of that. We need to be a lot more vocal on the penalties and the legal consequences that is associated with cyber crime. For us in the Central Bank of Nigeria, public awareness is one of our critical and powerful tools in fighting the cyber crime. We're working closely with financial institutions to develop and disseminate educational campaigns material that would enlighten the general public and customers on how to actually protect their account details and then protect their personal information so that it's not susceptible to cyber attack. This campaign, of course, focuses on recognizing common cyber threats such as the phishing emails, the social engineering tactics, which he actually spoke about, and of course the malware attack. So I did say that we're also actually promoting a lot of cybersecurity literacy in schools. We are going around the schools and making sure that they are fully informed, training them on cybersecurity literacy even in the most vulnerable population, just to ensure that they actually own their information, and when they are online, they're actually playing very safe. Thank you.
Thank you, DG.
Okay, so the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, our application process is entirely cyber-based. The one thing that we make a lot of noise about is that if people declare or make false declarations in their application, not only will it be rejected, they will be prosecuted. So I think the first thing is to educate everybody on the consequences to society of committing cyber crimes. If you commit a cyber crime with us, you are preventing other people who could be getting the funds from getting it. The second thing is that having said that and having educated people about the consequences to the wider society of committing these crimes, we then need to ensure that when we do catch people doing the wrong thing, cybercrime-wise, we not only go after them in association and in collaboration with the security agencies, we make sure that they're punished, and we make sure that the punishment is very, very widely publicized so that it can put people off doing it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. What resonated with me is combating cybercrime is about people. Everything's centered around people. And what EFCC is doing, I think, is beyond just combating the cybercrime. It will help in getting alternative for the cybercrimes. It will create jobs, and also it will help in rebranding our country, so that it is not going to be any more about Nigerian prince, but we should be exporting cybersecurity experts. So I believe this, if we can all rally together, let NEL Fund also give loan for people doing professional courses. CBN should look at in terms of development, economic development policies, not only putting money to agri and textile and so on. You can also fund skills development, because that can really help in boosting our brand export, and also the collaboration between EFCC and Floater Wave also is something we are interested at NIDA as well. We build innovation hubs around the country. Let us see how we can work together to do more. Thank you.
Thank you. So on that note, MC, I'll pass.
Well, I know it's always been a very tough job. It's a 10-man panel. So let's put our hands together for the EVC of the NCC, Mr. Aminu Maida, for helping us manage our time, and for the panelists as well for bringing to bear their wealth of knowledge and experience. But let's put our hands together for them. We'll take pictures quickly, if you don't mind. We'll just rise and take pictures just to etch this moment in history. And just quickly, I am told that we'll have to take a quick message, a 2-minute message from the Special Assistant to the President on Youth Initiatives Monitoring and Delivery, Honorable Titilope Badamosi. So we'll just take a quick message from you, if you're here, Honorable Titilope Badamosi, just quickly, so we can also get a sense. Please, we'd like to ask the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to please join the panelists as they take pictures. All right. Please, would like to also invite the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and the governor of Kwara State to please join for the photo op, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak. Right. Definitely. He can't come without his wife, so please let's make welcome his wife as well to please join in the photographs. Thank you very much. All All right, once again, please let's put our hands together for them. They have done a yeoman's job having this conversation in such a short time. But this is testament to the fact that the conversation is far from over. So please look out for them after the event. Hold them, ask questions if you have areas that you need to be clear on. But it's not just talk, we need to take a lot of action. Well, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to move as fast as we can now so we can beat the timing for this. And I'd like to invite on stage right now the Director of Public Affairs of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, CE Wilson Owujaren, as they will help us understand some other work that the EFCC has been doing to ensure that the conversation around preventing cybercrimes, corruption is also done through essay writing. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Wilson Owujaren.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. The 2024 EFCC essay competition for secondary and tertiary institutions is actually the second in the series. The initiative is born out of a desire by the Commission to have a platform for continuous conversation with Nigerian youths at various levels of education. And in the course of planning this summit, we thought it was essential to give our youth a platform to express their views on the theme of this event, alternative to cybercrime. And we felt that the best way to harness their opinion was to engage them in essay writing. And so we came up with two topics for the two levels of education. The first one, the topic for tertiary education, was using technology for social good, how digital skills can be leveraged to promote transparency in government. And for secondary school students, they were to write on the topic, exploring the alternative to cybercrime for sustainable development. The entries were open on the 8th of August this year, and by the time it closed on the 12th of September, we had over 1,000 entries. And our panel of judges had 4 weeks to go through all the entries. And I think I will just mention the gentlemen and ladies that handled this task for the commission. Among our judges, we have Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, Mrs. Lara Oweye-Wise, Malam Yusha Shwab, Dr. Chido Onuma, and Engineer Warebi Guo Niki. For those 4 weeks, I must confess, it was not an easy task for them. Because like most things in Nigeria, the elephant in the room also rose up. When I say the elephant in the room, I'm talking of corruption. A process that were actually designed to be foolproof turned out to be something else. AI-inspired corruption also crept into that process. And I was amazed at how courageous the judges took their work, that they also call on some essential digital tools to counter those who wanted to cheat in that process. I'm happy to inform us this afternoon that at the end of the process, we now have 6 winners who will go home with prizes that the Commission wants to give out today. And I will shortly invite the man who is the brain behind this exercise, the man that I want to say is the most passionate anti-corruption leader that we have in this country today. I'm speaking of no other than the chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukode. So without wasting any more time, I want to call on him to come to the podium, and then I will hand over to the MC to take charge of the presentation of prizes for our winners of the second EFCC essay competition for both secondary schools and tertiary institutions in the country. The MC will announce the name of the winners, and the chairman will have the honor of making the presentations to them. Thank you very much. Yes, Ulysses, I'll leave it.
Well, this is a moment we've all been waiting for, particularly the essay writers. So I'm going to start with the secondary winners, all right? I'll begin with the second runner-up, the first runner-up, and of course, the first. Now, I'll just go in that, process.
Before you announce this, sorry.
Just a moment, please. We're just trying to ensure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. So I'm sorry to the essay writers. I know the anxiety is rising, but please, you get the announcement very soon.
Sorry for this. I think I'll ask the chairman to return to his seat. We'll call you up, sir, for just to get that process clear.
Please, let's put our hands together for the chairman. We'll have him again. Looks like we can't have enough of him at this moment. Thank you very much, chairman. All right. So we'll start with the second runner-up for the secondary category. And it is my pleasure to tell you that the winner, second runner-up in this case, is Emmanuel Oluwashemilogo Rebecca. Please let's put our hands together for Emmanuel Oluwashemilogo Rebecca. Emmanuel, please tell me you're here. This is a very important moment. Okay. I will move on to the first runner-up, but just so you know, the prize for the second runner-up, the person who came third, that's Emmanuel Oluwashemilogo Rebecca, in the secondary category, is 300,000 naira. Woo! Well, the first runner-up in that same category, coming in second position, is Covenant Adeshegun. Let's put our hands together for Covenant Adeshegun as she comes up. Oh, I see Emmanuel is stepping up. Emmanuel, I'm so happy for you. Please come this way. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for Covenant as well. She came second in the secondary category, and she'll be going home with a prize of 400,000 naira. Please, let's put our hands together for her. And the first position goes to Pearl Okereke, coming in first place in the secondary category. Please let's put our hands together for Pearl Okereke. Pearl, where are you? Are you running? Are you jogging to the stage right now? Oh dear. All right, but Pearl goes home eventually when Pearl shows up with 700,000 naira. Woo! All right, so let's move to the tertiary category now. A lot of work, a lot of brain work going into this. Coming in third position, second runner-up, is Godwin Ajala. Please let's put our hands together for Godwin Ajala, coming in third position in the tertiary category. Congratulations, Godwin. You are the winner of 300,000 naira as well. Coming in second position, first runner-up in the tertiary category is Favor Mama. Let's put our hands together for Favor Mama, coming in second place in the tertiary category. Favor, please tell me you're around. Whew, okay, Favor is not around, but Favor will be going home eventually with 500,000 naira. I think we need to put our hands together for the EFCC, putting a lot of work and support into this, showing them that indeed there are alternatives to cybercrime and they pay good money as well. And last but not least, in fact, this person takes first position in the tertiary category. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Adeshola Adejuma, coming in first place in the tertiary category. Let's put our hands together for the man. He's not just tall, he's standing tall in first place, tertiary category. And I tell you this, Adeshola Adejuma will be going home with, don't tell anybody, I know you need Ghana Must Go for this one, 800,000 naira. So we'll now invite the Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, the brain behind this, as he presents the gifts to our winners. Please let's put our hands together for him as he comes on stage. So Emmanuel, second runner-up in the secondary category. Let's put our hands together for him. Please let's put our hands together for our first runner-up, second position, secondary category. And now for the winner in the secondary category, who's Pearl Okereke is not here, so we'll find a way to give Pearl. But let's move over to the tertiary category now. Congratulations, Godwin Ajala. You come in third position, tertiary category. And that is the overall winner, going home with 800,000 naira. Congratulations to all of you. You have made young people in Nigeria proud. And thank you to the EFCC for showcasing their work. We'll now take photographs with the chairman. Thank you very much. Once again, please let's put our hands together for them. I remember writing essays in school and they weren't the easiest things to do. So having these ones write essays that are targeted to the theme of this event speaks a lot. Congratulations, guys. Here's to seeing you doing greater things in the coming future. Congratulations once again. Well, Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, what a day it has been here today at the National Cybercrime Summit 2024, organized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule, but don't take my word for it. To give the vote of thanks at this moment, it is my honor and pleasure to invite to the podium the Secretary to the Commission, Mr. Mohammed Hamanjoda, for the vote of thanks. Please let's put our hands together for him.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. My own task is simple and difficult. Difficult in the sense that I'm standing while appreciating our guest. In our African culture, you have to kneel down and appreciate our guest. First and foremost, we, on behalf of the Commission, the management, and the staff, entirely appreciate and sincerely thank our First Lady, our mother, our grandmother, who has been supporting us through His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief. We sincerely appreciate and thank her and the Commander-in-Chief. We also sincerely appreciate the contribution and collaboration of our executive governors from Kwara, the chairman of Governors Forum, and his wife, who are here present since morning. We appreciate them. We appreciate the executive governor of Zamfara, Gombe, and Katsina. We all appreciate them, including other governors that were ably represented here. We sincerely appreciate you, and we continue to appreciate you. We also appreciate the leadership and the National Assembly, who are always there for us in terms of our budgetary provision. We appreciate all of them immensely. And we cannot continue to appreciate others without appreciating our own, which is our executive chairman, our leader. We appreciate you, we appreciate you, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir. And our panelists, the paper presenter, DG Nida, and the uncle, who is also the executive vice chairman of NCC, and the panelists, we all appreciate them. We sincerely appreciate each and every one of them for being here for us. We also appreciate other agencies, director generals, executive secretaries. We all appreciate you. We also appreciate our youths, our NYSC corpers. We sincerely appreciate you for being here since morning up to this hour. We continue to appreciate you. We also appreciate the leadership of NBA and other judges and justices that were also here. We continue to appreciate them. They are all our stakeholders. Without them, we cannot move an inch. Corruption is for all of us. So we are here to fight it together. We in the EFCC cannot do it alone. We have to do it jointly with each and every person that is here and whoever is not even here. We all need your support. We appreciate you. We also appreciate our organizing committees. Many of them, we left here with them 2 a.m. and we are here again 7 a.m. We sincerely appreciate you for putting these edifices in such a way that it accommodates us and it gives us comfort to continue to promote alternative for cyber crime. We also appreciate the media men for putting everything humanly possible, educating those who are not even here. We also appreciate you sincerely from the bottom of our heart. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And we have come to the end of this bit, but the work definitely continues. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may we now rise for the national anthem to be taken by the Guards Brigade Presidential Band, led by Lieutenant J. Obodo. So here's wishing us safe journey back to our destinations and